like... That's Brexit right now.
Right. You know, I was watching this, I wouldn't say entertaining, enlightening.
Check that monitor.
That's good. I mean, I can hear it, so yeah, that's fine. That's great.
I was watching this thing about Brexit where they were talking to a gentleman who's a flower vendor. He gets fresh flowers from the continent. And somebody pointed out that these flowers that are coming across the channel, either by ferry or by channel, they're now going to have to go through customs. And somebody did a calculation with the current rate of trade across the channel. If every single truck is delayed by 70 seconds, it will take you 6 days to get material across the channel.
Oh, yeah, we know. Like,
Well, they were interviewing this guy, and he's saying, my entire business will be killed. My livelihood's going to be gone. I'll be put out. And then they said, well, which way did you vote? Well, I voted to leave, but I never realized it would be like this. It's like, you stupid son of a bitch.
I mean, Scotland...
You just voted for shit. You didn't even know what was going to happen. What do you think this is, America?
Yeah, that was the most Googled thing once the vote had already taken place.
Yes, we had the vote. What's the most...
What is Brexit? And
yes, what is Brexit? What did we vote for? Don't get all quiet. We're not starting yet. He's just warming up. I'm opening my news here. I made a discovery at Anthro Crossroads East.
Anthro Crossroads?
Yes, East. It was in Raleigh.
Oh.
Yeah. See, you musicians with your like microphone stands here and everything. Look at me. I walk around.
Very extended.
But I don't need the microphone stand for the microphone. There we go. Until the damn thing falls over, that's going to be a tragedy. That's why I still have the full can back here. It's good. Is this 18? How did they build this? Is this 18 plus? Am I?
9:30. Who cares?
Is it billed as 18 plus? No? Heave ho. Well, Patterson. That's in New Jersey. It's one of the dirtiest things I could think to say. Hey, I'm from Philly. I can brag on Jersey all we want. Wow. Look at it. Look at all those empty chairs. I'm losing my touch. Guys, Fox Moore's up here for shit. For sing-along sake.
That's all I want to play.
We used to, years ago, we used to say, okay, nothing worse than you would see on South Park. Well, we kind of had to change that. Because they're sort of pushing the envelope, ain't they?
Did you ever watch South Park, the movie?
Yes. Oh, the movie. Yes, yes.
Satan singing, he wants to be up there.
That gave us Blame Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Beady eyes and flapping heads. Yeah, we're not going to. We're not singing that one, no.
What about America? Fuck yeah.
And why did they choose Uncle? You know why they chose Uncle? If they had used Mother, they would have given them an R rating. But with Uncle, they could make it PG-13. Because the Mother portion, that's one of the buzz phrases, kicks you up to R.
Really?
Yes.
That makes perfect sense.
Yes. They had to come up with a new one, PG-53.
I mean, nowadays it's PG-13.
Yeah.
Just general.
Of course, we're at a point now where the kids can teach us words. sake, by the way. If you're not familiar with it, I can teach you all about it, but not tonight because I only have a little bit left. I have gone through a lovely bottle that Ken Long gave me. All I have left now is a can. A can of sake, but it's got to be good. It has a fox on it. Put a fox on it, it makes it good. Drinking sake out of a martini glass. Very gauche.
Very alkaline.
It's very alkali, isn't it?
Speaking of which,
Alkali's got another thing. There's a bunch of programming going on simultaneously, apparently. So, in order to give you guys a wide variety of things, that's what it's for. It's all for your benefit, not ours, yours. What time? Got it. See, Alkali pulled that joke on me once. I had like a glass, and Kage, what time is it? Oh, that's one of the oldest tricks in the book, and I fell for it. Did you have anything to drink up here? Dude, fish crap in that, you know.
I have to work with Pepper. I gotta control myself sometimes.
Yeah, he is attractive, isn't he? When did he become a bird? All of a sudden he's a bird.
It just kind of happened overnight, I guess. It was actually when we did Spread Thy Wings at Nashville that kind of inspired his character, I guess.
Birdism. It could happen to anyone at any time. Don't let this be you.
Oh, I was thinking of like making a hyena character, but because hyenas are pretty awesome.
So it's going to be Fox Hyena and Pepper Hawk from now on?
Foxina and Pepper Hawk, yep.
We got 28 more seconds.
Pepper Hawk. Pepper Hawk and Punch.
See, where I come from, things start on time. Fortunately, we're not where I come from. But these people look like they've been patient for a long time. All, 50 of them? Damn, all those empty chairs. And if a chair is empty, just put it out there so it looks like we have a full audience. If you don't know who I am, it's not important. The important thing is this is Fox Amoore up here, ladies and gentlemen. I used to say with tremendous hubris that he was doing the musical accompaniment for me, but then I realized I was doing the spoken accompaniment for him.
Nah.
That's how it works. Okay.
We're both
All right, which of us has the coolest accent?
Dilithium crystals, Captain.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that makes me excited. So anyway, I'm Uncle Kage. I'm not really sure why, but I drink stuff and I talk. Pretty much it, really. There's not much more to it. And Fox Amoore plays music to try to make sense of what I'm saying. Like that. Yes, that's Uncle Kage after 11 p.m. After 85 glasses of this.
Yeah, the sky said you were going to be falling down.
I've only just started.
I know. I'm just...
Give a man a chance. They're laughing, but it was only a couple of years ago I actually did. I was like, finally, after almost 25 damn years, I finally did. So I tell stories. Stories about places I've been, people I've met, things I've done, things that have happened to me. All of my stories are guaranteed 105% true. Comes with a certificate. There is a margin of error on that, but that varies. I've got a list of stories to talk about here, but my dear old friend Benny, who's one of my oldest friends, reminded me of one of the first stories he heard me tell, and I thought, maybe I'll bring it back. The story goes back to my college days, back when we wore, raccoon skin coats and, ran about in black and white because we didn't have color back then. The world was black and white until 1963. It's true. You can see it. Look at the pictures. I was a teaching assistant in college. Very intellectual. Very 1980s looking hair, but we're not going to get into that. Thank you, Bugs. I'm a chemist. This is what I do. This is my life. I work in chemistry. I have a doctorate in chemistry, and I love chemistry. I'm the chemistry guy. Years ago, I was teaching chemistry class, the laboratory portion thereof. The bane of my existence was a very, very nice young lady whom I will call Susie. Susie was interesting. Susie was, and here, I apologize if anybody's offended. If you're offended, it's not my intention to offend. It's my intention to describe. Susie was blonde, in every sense of the word that you can imagine. She was very, very pretty, had very long blonde hair that she was constantly throwing back like this. I had exactly 2 instances in my academic career where I had to evacuate the laboratory for immediately dangerous to life and health conditions. Susie was the cause of both of them. I remember the first. It was a simple distillation. Let's take some methylene chloride, we're going to warm it up, and we're going to distill it over in the nice condenser. You remember your chemistry classes, you did that stuff, it was very cool. Just like my granddad used to do back in the 20s in Alabama. That's another story. Well, that involves heating up the flask that contains the liquid till the liquid starts to boil. Susie got it into her head that she should heat the flask first. And she did that until it was glowing bright cherry red. And then poured the volatile liquid onto it. There was a reaction. A very vigorous reaction. People were diving for cover. Susie was standing there looking befuddled. I went up and I said, okay, all right. Let's dissect this circumstance, shall we? Can you show me in your laboratory manual where it said, heat up the flask to approximately 1150 degrees Celsius, and then add your liquid, which boils at 40 degrees Celsius, onto it? And she looked and she said, it didn't say not to. She had me up. I can't argue with that. Nope.
Good logic.
The second time was in a different class. This is an upper-level analytical chemistry class. Susie was in it. And my star student, a nice young lady named Jean. Jean came up to me looking very, very upset, saying, Susie just poured a whole beaker of sulfuric acid into my HCl. You have no idea what that means, do you? Isn't it cute?
I just heard acid and I'm like, oh.
Basically, it means I gotta get people out of here. Because there is a very, very poisonous gas that is spewing out of this flask right now. So I'm telling everybody to get out. Out, 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 out. Of course, the college sophomores, can we take our books? No, just go, go. You can't take your books. This thing is sitting there, this white gas is erupting out of it. And I turned to the students who were standing in the door. I got a pair of gloves. I said, look, if I fall down, don't come in after me. Just close the damn door, all right? So I went in with the gloves, holding my breath, took this flask, threw it in the sink, and ran back out. I still have acid holes in my arms from that. I could explain to you chemically what's going on. Let's just say it was bad. And I went up to Susie. And I said, Susie, I can't help being curious. Idle curiosity. This is an upper level chemistry course, you know? I'm a little surprised. What exactly is your major? And with her hair throwing back, she said, well, I really want to be a gym teacher. I have a double major, chemistry and phys ed. Chemistry and phys ed. Well, that's an unusual combination. So you want to be a gym teacher?
French physics? Phys ed.
Yeah, phys ed. She said, oh, no. I want to be a gym teacher, but if I can't get a job doing that, I could be like a chemist or something. didn't drink before that day. Benny said to me of late, have you thought of looking Susie up on LinkedIn? I thought, no, absolutely not. There is no way. Because I might find out that she's in Washington, D.C. or something like that. I don't know. Probably making 15 times my salary as a gym teacher. Oh. This is getting turned off. There's a reason. I was doing a story hour. Funny that. And I'm up on stage, and I'm doing, I'm Uncle Kage, I'm doing stuff here. Hello, faceless man. Oh, just put that right here, thank you very much. Oh, it's Qianlong wine, thank you very much. I'll get to that. I was doing my story, I'm up here being Uncle Kage and having fun and making noise, and somebody was talking, and I was very annoyed, because, I'm the performer, he's the musician, you're the and you should shut the hell up, all right? But he kept talking, and I stopped. I'm looking around, and I realized it was coming from my pocket. I don't know how I managed to do this. The phone had unlocked itself and dialed. Thomas Feinberg, the foremost scientist in my chosen field. Hi, Tom. This is really going to sound funny. And he said, are you on stage right now? I said, actually, yes. He said, oh, well, don't let me interrupt. I was just wondering why you called me. I said, so was I. We'll talk later, okay? Tom is cool. He's a wonderful guy. I really enjoy working with him. I have recently changed jobs. I was working at a place that is about 2 hours away from my home. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I was working in the town of Wilmington, North Carolina. That is 2 hours south. It was a hell of a commute. I was not happy with it. But I was there at the job for a while, and now I've got something closer. But the day I left, I had made some friends there, and one of my best friends, she was in quality assurance, a data reviewer. I was saying goodbye, and I said, let me write something down for you. And I wrote down a particular YouTube channel. And I said, if you get bored sometime, don't tell anyone. Go look at this channel. And she looked and she said, oh, honey, we've known about Uncle Kage since you got here. Cool co-workers. I got a whole list of stories to talk about, but I don't know if I really want to talk about them. Maybe I should just freestyle. The problem is if I freestyle it, somebody will put it up on goddamn YouTube, and then it gives away the punchline for later shows, so I never know what to do. That's an open question, by the way.
Is that an ask the audience?
Nah. Deal with the audience. What do they care? I'll just start talking. I've had several jobs in my lifetime. You might have noticed I'm kind of old. Spent most of it in chemistry. But I actually took a break from chemistry back almost 20 years ago now. Actually, it is 20 years ago. Holy crap. And I left the laboratory, and I went to work for an organization that provides human tissue for biomedical research. In other words, I went from being the scientist to being the hunchback. Because the way that biomedical researchers used to have to get human tissue was they would hang around outside of operating rooms looking through that little window. Excuse me, are you going to throw that away? Yeah, could you just set that aside for me, okay? They don't do that anymore. They hire guys like me to go stand outside. Excuse me, are you gonna that's. It's a little more complicated than that. Kind of close. It can be a trying sort of job. On one hand, we are told we have to treat the tissue with respect. This is a human being. This is the remains of somebody's father or grandfather or mother or sister. But in that business, your success depends on somebody else's unspeakable tragedy. And in order to survive emotionally, sometimes you just have to see the humor in it. Part of my job was overseeing the laboratory where the tissue was kept. Now, often tissue would be collected. We would hope to give it to a researcher, but sometimes something would go wrong. The researcher's funding didn't come through, the tissue wasn't suitable for this particular study. What do? You don't just throw it out the window and hope a dog gets it. You can't do that. You have to keep it in case somebody else wants it. So we had these big -80-degree ultra-cold chillers, which kept the tissue cryogenically frozen. Interesting to open these chillers. Because whoever had the job ahead of me, as I said, sometimes you just have to laugh. I believe it was chiller number 3, if I remember. It was when you went in the lab, it was the one on the right in the corner. I'm pretty sure that was number 3. When you open that one, different tissues were cataloged in different locations. This one included the boy parts. My predecessor, whoever it was, before leaving, had carefully arranged them by size. And when you opened chiller number 3, it looked like a xylophone. That's the first thing I thought of when oh my goodness, that's a xylophone. Let's see if it works. Endearing young chimes, right? That's the Jewish one anyway. So anyway, sorry. Well?
I was going to find a freaking xylophone, but so many sounds.
He loves his toy. Are you airing out your armpit? What's wrong?
Bone parts or just the one?
All of them, sir. I mean, you name it, we had it. That's it. That was it. They had them all. The thing is, when you first start the job and you would get a phone call from a source, you have to use the word source, yes, we have had this incident, and it starts out with, yes, this is the National Disease Research Interchange, how may I help you? After a little while, it starts to get to you, and you have to stop yourself from grabbing the phone and saying, yeah, this is NDRI, you ice them, we dice them. I think I said that a couple of times. Now, I didn't have a lot of company other than my buddy Murray. You need to have a coworker that you can get along with in any job. I don't think I could have survived in that job as long as I did if I didn't have Murray. God bless him. Murray was not a great conversationalist. He was very quiet, but he was an outstanding listener. Because, see, Murray, he was only from here up. Murray is what we call a cranium. His name wasn't actually Murray. He just looked like a Murray, so I called him Murray. Murray the head. Murray lived in number 2. Not with those. He lived is kind of a neck, I use that term loosely. The thing about Murray and why we became such good friends is when I first opened the door and the smoke came out and everything, and there was Murray. Murray had fixed now for the remainder of time on his face the most absolutely blissful, beatific smile. I don't know how Murray went, but I want to go that way. Because it was like, I want to say hi to him. Hey, Murray, dude, how's it going? Oh, no, don't be like that. Chill out. Honest, I said that. We get a little weird. One of my duties was to ensure that if there was a power interruption, that all of this precious anatomical gifts was seen to. Which meant, remember, this is 20 years ago, I had a pager. Pager.
I'm just gonna spin the wheel and see what it lands on.
Pager. That's good, yeah, that was my pager. Oh, I wish it sounded like that. The pager from the tunnel of time.
They call this the jazz pager.
The jazz pager? Do that again. I love this.
The thing is, as well, if you hit it harder, you can get them.
Funny thing is, that's just what Murray sounded like in my head. And his. If the power was interrupted, if the power got interrupted, a page would come and say, dude, the power got interrupted. The problem is, this was in Northwest Philadelphia, in a neighborhood which probably had not had its power grid upgraded since they invented electricity. I mean, this was the original Benjamin Franklin electricity going to this place. They didn't have wires just going across. The wires went to these big kites, and you had to wait for it. Anyway, so there were constant brownouts and horrible things like that. The power would go out for 2-3 seconds and then come back on. But the page would go off. It'd be 2 o'clock in the morning. It'd be midnight on a Sunday. I would get the page. I would have to drive 25 miles into Philadelphia to go into the lab and see nothing's wrong. This got to be a drag real quick. I even asked Murray about it. He said, yeah, dude, this has been happening since... Actually, no, he didn't. I just imagined all this, but... So, I called up the alarm company. I said, look, it's freaking 1999. Surely technology has come to the point that you can set a timer on this? If the power goes out, I want you to wait 10 minutes, and then if the power is still out, then you can alert me. But if the power comes back on, please don't wake me up. They said, absolutely sure. The alarm company, we'll just call them ABC. How's that sound? ABC. So ABC said, sure, we can do that, but these alerts kept coming. And always the same thing. I'd go into the lab, and I'd call them and say, guys, this is not rocket surgery I'm asking you to do here, all right? Okay, alarm, wait, 10 minutes, no alarm, bye. They finally got it into their heads, and I was able to get 2-3 good nights sleep. That was the end of May. Then Memorial Day came up. Apparently, at about 4:55 p.m., the Friday of Memorial Day, one of the capacitors blew out in one of the chillers. And the temperature started to rise. And the alarm went off, and the person at ABC said, oh, wait, 10 minutes. Oh, 5 o'clock, shift change, go home. Friday became Saturday. Saturday became Sunday. Sunday became Monday. Monday became Tuesday at 8:15 a.m. I arrived, and there was a frantic message for me from one of the technicians saying, you better come up here. And I called and I said, what the hell is going on? They said, we had a failure in one of the minus 80s. I said, oh my God, Murray. I went charging up there. It wasn't number 2, thankfully. Murray was still okay. I was vexed. I was vexed. That's a good word. I called up ABC and I said, hello, I would like to have one of your supervisors here now. I don't mean now. I want the supervisor here now when I first said now. Don't make me come and get you. Now, I sounded very calm. I think on the phone it's more like, don't make me come and get you. So the supervisor showed up, and I said, okay, you had one job. One job. Look what happened. Come over here. Why don't you look nice and close? My xylophone's out of tune. What am I going to do? I have to replace all this. Cut here. I'm guessing you're in E flat, huh? Wound up firing those people. There was another story I was going to tell about that place. My heavens, what was it? For some reason, my memory is not what it used to be. I know why. My glass needs more in it. Out of my can of sake. It'll do. Tastes a little metallic. But we have to keep an eye to the time because after this is... What's after this? Who's Lion? Yes. And we do not want to go too far over time. So if we're starting to get to 10, 20 or something, somebody give me a high sign, okay? One more. I do miss that place sometimes. No, I don't. Actually, no, I don't. It is emotionally very draining. Yeah, why not? It almost sounds like it should be the end of the show. Yes. All good things must come to an end. Speaking of which, I always wondered what happened with Murray. Maybe I should look him up on LinkedIn sometime. I mean, look up Murray the Head. Look him up on LinkedIn. Let's see what he's doing. Maybe he and Susie are working together.
They haven't done the same capacity.
Actually, yes, they probably... Nah, Murray's smarter than that. I could tell because he was... Human head is freaking heavy, I'll tell you. You don't ever want... Okay, if you tell me, yes, I know, I don't want to talk to you, okay? Just... unless you're in that business. I do recall a customer who called up. I think I told the story in 2000.
I wasn't even born then.
You're so full of crap, your eyes are brown, boy.
I'm an 80s boy.
We would get phone calls from researchers looking for tissue for all sorts of reasons. eyeball, you're looking to study macular degeneration, you need a human eyeball. For that, you need nerve tissue, you need skin, all to delve into the secrets of the ills of the human race. You actually have to study the actual human body. And I would get phone calls, and they'd come from all over the world. I'd come in the morning, and there'd be the pink, while you were out sheets. And one of them, I came in one morning, and it had a phone number, and it simply said, Dr. Rattan. Okay, Dr. Rattan. So I called. And I said, I'd like to speak to Dr. Rattan, please. And a gentleman with a very charming Indian accent said, it is pronounced rotten. Okay, Dr. Rotten. Yes, how may we help you today, sir? He said, I'm looking for anal sphincter. You don't say. I can give you a map and a flashlight, dude. This is a rather unusual request, Dr. Rotten. Please describe to me the nature of your research. He said, we intend to study the smooth muscle contraction. I'm going to put you on hold for just a second, Dr. Rotten. Okay, I'll be right back with you. Sally! Sally! I have a Dr. Rotten on the phone. He's looking for an asshole. Because he wants to watch it clench. Yes, Dr. Rotten, I'm back. We can probably accommodate that. It might take some time. In the meantime, if you're near your computer, I'm gonna send a resource your way. If you're at your computer, I want you to open a browser, type in www.furaffinity. You see, there's a drop down. See it there? That's go. No, I didn't. It was called Furnation back then. I never did find out. I mean, if that's what you're into, that's great. He could have just gotten all his grad students together and said the funding had been cut. That would have saved him a lot of time. But again, I only lasted about 2 years in that business before it finally got to me. And I went back to chemistry. Chemistry it gets in your blood in more ways than one. I'm an old, classic 1980s organic chemist. I'm probably one of the few people left who can tell you what beryllium tastes like. That's what you used to do. You used to taste stuff. What is this? Oh, I don't know. Sulfuric acid. Okay. They're laughing. No, we used to do that. It didn't taste as good as this. Anybody here run a convention, by the way? No? You don't want to. We had a panel discussion earlier called Convention Horror Stories. If you missed it, you really should catch it sometime. We basically talk about what goes on behind the scenes, the things you guys don't see. I've been at the helm of Ampercon since the very beginning, practically. In those days, we had dances. The dance was like a black light and a boombox. That was it. And we'd have like a room half this size, and there'd be like 4 furries in there. Yay! But as the convention grew, and as we got more resources, we started getting, this stuff and the lights that do all the swirlies and the big. I'm never going to forget. The one year we had the budget, our AV director just went completely apeshit. Bananas. Bananas is apeshit, sorry. Yeah, but anyway, that's George Carlin. I had to quote that, I'm sorry. They went to the local AV place and they got everything. If it existed, they rented it. Even if they didn't know what it was. The guy from the AV place, when I called up to get the credit card number, I'm like, that's a lot of zeros. He said, when Aerosmith comes to town, they don't rent this much equipment. And I said to my AV guy, okay, dude, what exactly is the end game here? He said, oh man, this could be so great. We're going to have the greatest dance any convention has ever seen. Trust me, man, it's going to be spectacular. He was from California. So he rented the this and the one of those and a bunch of these things and a fog machine and an oonce and these giant speakers that went from the floor to the ceiling and then put it all together in a big extension cord and plugged it in. It got real dark real quick. A typical circuit is, if anybody's like an electrical engineer, it's like 15 amps, something like that. Well, he had about 755 amps. That's when the hotel manager came up. Are you the chairman? I said, your chairman's in a different hotel. Those are the days of the Adams Mark Hotel. Anybody remember the Adams Mark Hotel? No. A couple of old people there. The Adams Mark was a rat hole, but it was our rat hole. Has anybody ever gone to a convention and noticed that some of the elevators didn't work so good? Yeah. The Adams Mark had 4 elevators. I brought the Dorsai Irregulars in for their first year in 2002. The Dorsai very quickly gave names to the elevators. If I remember properly, they were Sir Speedy, Hades, Confused, and Bob. Sir Speedy would take you in absolute record time from the first floor to the 23rd floor, no matter which button you pushed. Hades would take you to your floor. The inner doors would open, the outer doors would not. Confused would take you to some floor. It was a crapshoot. Push the button, close your eyes, just get out wherever he leaves you, okay? And Bob's doors would open at some random point, at the floor, between floors, we don't know. But then he'd try to find it. He'd be 3 feet low, then he'd go... At one point, all 4 elevators broke. The Adams Mark was 23 stories tall. Our theme that year in 2001 was furries in flight. They very quickly called it furries in flights of stairs. Just like that. So anytime I see people kvetching and moaning because the elevators are slow, it's just shut up. In 2001, our guest of honor was Dan DiCarlo. If you don't know the name, Google it. He was the man who created the look of Archie Comics, as well as Josie and the Pussycats. He had created the character of Josie, patterned after his dear wife, Josette DiCarlo. They had met in World War II. She was what we would call his Mademoiselle from Armentières. Josie was even a lady of a certain age, she was spectacularly beautiful. Oh my gosh, she was a peach. And we always treat our guests of honor to a very, very nice, high-class dinner with the board of directors. You know, with suits and ties and jackets, gentlemen, jackets, thank you very much. And, of course, we have one of the luminaries of the comic industry here, which everybody's Dan DiCarlo. And Madame de Carlo. Yes, very impressive. And I was sitting at the head of the table. Dan was here. Across from him was now Susan Pollard, who was our programming director at the time. She's here somewhere. Sue. Anyway, Dan was sitting there, and I'm like, oh yes, it's your Anthrocon, you're the director, the CEO is me. Here's notice how classy we are. We're always classy here. Yes, it is. Please praise us for our very high class. And I was really laying it on disgustingly thick. And at one point, I stopped to take a breath. And Dan, who had been quiet this entire time, looked over at Suzanne, who's a very pretty blonde, and said, "What kind of a drunk do you make?" And I went, and Sue, taken aback, dropped her fork, and she said, "You'd have to get me drunk to find out." And Dan said, "Waiter, bring us some wine." And that's when Josie said, "Oh yes, that is my Dan. He loves the pretty girls. Even today when we go in, he's always giving me the little pinch on the derriere." I'm like, okay. I discovered, after only a very small amount of research, Dan DeCarlo was what my dear and sainted mother used to call a horn dog. There is a book out there called The Pin-Up Art of Dan DeCarlo. I don't recommend letting your children see it. Dan was, he really liked ladies a lot. I mean, anyway, it was only after Dan passed away. I was visiting Josie, darling lady. She showed me some of the artwork that Dan had made for her in World War II. It was Belgium. She had left France, fled to Belgium to get away from them. She never said who they were. It was always them. Them, they. When they would come, you do not go out, because when they would come, they'd say, you come, and we would not see them again. But when the GIs comes, there's parties and the champagne and the dancing. Josie at the time spoke no English, and Dan spoke no French. He courted her through his art. She showed me this adorable picture. It's cartoon Dan in his GI uniform. He's standing on a street corner with a clock showing 8 o'clock. He's holding a thing of flowers and candy, and he would send it to her, and this meant, yes, meet me at 8 o'clock. We'll have a date on this corner. And then she showed me some other drawings. Here was GI Dan leaning across the table with his pants down around his ankles, and Josie in a Red Cross nurse costume with a big syringe filled with hearts getting ready to inoculate. And I was looking at this going, okay, that's sweet. And then she closed the book and said, and then of course there's the pictures we keep in the family. Now you know, famous artists, big artists, you know, right? I had been kind of teasing Joaquin Baldwin, who you might have met. He's the layout director, art director, I believe, on Zootopia. Anytime he would be, he's a swell guy. Anytime he'd be giving a talk, I'd hide in the back so he couldn't see me. And then when he took the questions, I'd kind of pop up and say, I have a question. He'd go, oh God. I'd say, who came up with the glitter tigers? And he would just sort of, next question, that's just Sam again. Well, last year, we were at a convention together in Melbourne in Australia. I did the same thing. I was hiding in the back. And Joaquin's up there. And, of course, it's Australia. I had to jump out and say, yeah, who came up with those glitter tigers? And Joaquin took a deep breath and said, I've seen pictures of those tigers you're never going to see. I haven't tried that since. Boy, wonder what the Disney Vault looks like these days. By the way, if you want to put this on YouTube, go ahead. We'll get a goddamn copyright strike.
That wasn't me, was it?
No, it's me! Anytime I do a wine stream, just about every month. It's pretty much this, just with more booze. And a webcam, yes, YouTube, Uncle Kage, of course. I do my wine stream, he's been on it. I have like some kind of copyright stalker, because I'll break into a drunken version of some ancient Irish or Scottish drinking song that's 700 years old, and some guy will come up and say, I own the copyright to that. You owe me money. It's like, dude, that song was written in 1453. You don't look that old. When I visited Boozy Badger at his house, we were singing together. I got a record 13 copyright strikes. And the following month, I can't even remember what the hell song. It was a more modern song, and I got a copyright strike from the composer. And I was like, okay, dude, really? I sung like 6 bars of it? For Christ's sake. And I fought that one. I owe you. Excuse me, I am going to contest this. I do not think I should get a copyright strike off of this because I was simply singing it and I was not blah, 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 blah. That one I got a reply from. The reply was from YouTube saying, we have received word back from the copyright holder. They have agreed to remove the copyright complaint because in their judgment it did not constitute music. I like to sing though. I belt out drunken songs. And this guy's no help. He's like, oh, you sing fine. You're lying through your teeth, you asshole. Because he'll play stuff and I'll sing it and he'll be like, you can see him there going, oh, I want him to shut up. I'm just going to shove, paper clips into my ears to stop him. Notice he's not denying it.
I don't think you have a bad singing voice at all. In fact, I think you should sing right.
He's full of shit. I don't remember the words. You have to be English for
Can
that.
you look it up on your pager?
Anybody here from the British Isles? Other than you?
What's left of it?
Yes.
Look, I'm Scottish, okay? Everyone knows we hate them.
Has anybody here ever been to the British Isles? What do you think of the weather?
Yeah. It's the only place in the world where the rain will actively try and follow you. like heat-seeking rain.
There we go. January brings the snow, makes your feet and fingers glow. February's ice and sleet, freeze the toes right off your feet. Welcome March with wintry wind, would thou were not so unkind. April brings the sweet spring showers, on and on for hours and hours. Atmosphere unkindly May, frost by night and hail by day. June just rains and never stops, 30 days and spoils the crops. In July the sun is hot,
Is it shining?
no it's not. August cold and dank and wet, brings more rain than any yet. Big September's mist and mud is enough to chill the blood. Then October and rain and hail. Dark November brings the fog. Should not do it to a dog. Freezing wet December then. Bloody January again. Can we sing the Scottish song?
What moment?
I like the Scottish song.
Alright, okay.
Both versions? Your version and mine? I'll tell you what, you do the verse, we'll go to the chorus, then I'll do my verse. Well, money banks, beyond money bridge, the sun shines on Loch Lomond, where me and my true love will never meet again. On the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. If you know the words. You take the high road, and I'll take the low. I'll be in Scotland before you. Well, me and my true love will never meet again. On the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. In the event of sudden loss of cabin pressure, the panel above your head will open automatically. Grasp the mask firmly, breathe naturally. You take the high road, and I'll take the low, and I'll be in Scotland before you. But me and my true love will never meet again, again. Thank you. On the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. And right now, YouTube's going, you get a copyright on that shit. It's that stupid run rate guys of yours coming after us. Or whatever their names are. Rangarig.
Runrig.
That's them. I can't say it right. I love this guy's music. Oh, thank you. I'm getting a high side. We got to watch our time. I need a good ending story. I need an ending story. What can we do for an ending story? What? Oh, that's a long story. Now this has to be a short story. We could talk about the long-fingered lady. I don't know if I should tell them about that one. Oh, that's an ancient one. I used to be in emergency services. I worked with the Red Cross before I figured out they're a organized crime outfit. That's another story for another day. I used to give out the money. I know where it goes. But part of the job of the Red Cross is if there is a circumstance that puts people out of their homes, we show up and we give people coffee. That's our job. We're the coffee people. You know, your house has just been swallowed up by a giant sinkhole and all your children are dead. Have some coffee. Or if there's like a driving horrible hurricane with like 1,000-mile-an-hour winds and tree limbs are crashing down and lightning, can we put a blanket over your shoulders? Here you go. Because sometimes little things like that mean a lot. And sometimes we are called upon for duty far above and beyond the call thereof. A extraordinary circumstance in good old Philadelphia. We still refer to it as the box factory. A factory that makes boxes had gone up. Of course, fire is not just going to be contained to this one building, it's an entire block. We had to evacuate an entire block. And we opened a shelter, and we had all sorts of folk in there. There was a tiny little old lady, about 1 billion years old. And she was gesturing. And whenever, yes ma'am, coffee? She said, oh, I have to go to the ladies' room. I said, oh, it's right over there. And she's looking at me. I'm like, oh. So I take my arm. There you go. Poor little frail thing. Come on. Take your time. There's no hurry. I'll walk with you. We went to the ladies' room. And we got to the door, and I pushed it open, and she didn't let go of my arm. I'm like, ma'am, this is it's really very irregular, ma'am. I probably shouldn't. This is long before North Carolina, and I'm like, they didn't get that. Anyway, we went into the little thing, and she finally it's like okay, situated, and I turned to leave, but the door had closed, and it opened in, so I kind of was like, I couldn't leave. Because I couldn't pull the door open without like stepping on her lap or anything. So I'm standing there, trying to be very respectful. And well, I guess maybe she was embarrassed because she felt she had to give me a play-by-play. She began to my goodness, I probably shouldn't have started this story. She was doing some manipulations. That I can kind of, and she said, I have to loosen my stool. But that's really very nice, ma'am. I'll just be right here. I use the middle finger, it's the longest one. When they give us disaster training, this isn't part of it. I could probably... There was a lot that went on that weekend. But the problem is, it's a little insensitive to talk about some of the folk because at the time it seemed funny. But, like I said, when faced with extraordinary circumstances that try the human mind, sometimes you have to try to see the humor in it. But at no time should we allow that humor to cross the line from laughing at the situation to laughing at the people involved in the situation. So we're not going to tell you what else happened during that particular time. Unless, of course, you happen to catch me at the bar and have a very extensive budget. Notice nobody laughed. Find out. All right, that's killed enough time. There's going to be a spectacular performance on this stage in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to give you all time to regroup, go out, take a leak, give a leak, I don't care. In the meantime, I'm going to take my leave, and I want to thank very much the gentleman that made this evening what it is. Mr. Amoore, thank you incredibly for that compliment. You dropped something. You dropped, never mind. Yeah, that happens when you're past 52. All right, bugger off, a lot of you. We're going to do... Bye!
Ladies and gentlemen, Amoore and Uncle Kage! Give us about 10 minutes. We'll be on the next show, about 10 minutes.
Silver Gato Man, he bought me a coffee. Silver Gato Man, here is the song for thee. He likes to video all the panels at the cons. You should go and watch them whether they are short or long. Silver Gato Man, you video that's not a jibe. All of you go to his YouTube channel and like and subscribe.